Hi, welcome to another video web clip from Divination Counseling Service. I'm Colleen, and I welcome you all to yet another Tarot Talk. We're going to talk today about the minor arcana and numerology and how numerology can be very helpful in learning and understanding the minor arcana. We're going to break it up into two parts. We're only going to look at the first 5 cards of each suit today, and then I'll do a part 2 from 6 to 10. So let's talk about the minor arcana. The minor arcana, sometimes called the lesser cards, are the cards that are most closely associated with the playing deck. And this is the basis by which some card readers can work with that playing deck. So the minor arcana and the playing deck have a lot in common. So we're going to look at it from the perspective of numerology today. Always when you're reading the cards, you do want to look at the suits, and we will do that in a moment. But here, I'd like to really define the numbers and show how much they can help us in building our story. So I'm using today the Rider-Waite deck because I believe it is one of the easiest to learn to read, and I love using it for an example. I don't like tearing apart my deck. It's going to take me a long time to shuffle to get it back to being able to read it again. But for the next couple of videos, I will be using the Rider-Waite deck. So let's start with the beginning. Ace. Ace is your beginning, the seed. But in reverse, there can be problems with that beginning. As we move to 2, we're looking at fertility and cooperation. But of course, the reverse would be a lack of support, literally. The 3s represent the energy of expression. So it's creative, and there are results that often happen as a result of the 3. However, if it's reverse, it would be fruitless. The 4 is our foundations and our structures. And with it being in reverse, you're often looking at the opposite, that there's a lack of foundation or a lack of structure. So it usually is not as good. The 5 is change and activity and excitement, but unfortunately, it also comes with a degree of uncertainty. And of course, when it's reverse, it just really emphasizes that need for change. So that's a general outline of all the numbers we're going to be looking at. So let's look at the cards next. So these are my trusty piles. And first we're going to look at all the aces. So here's the Ace of Wand. And the Ace of Wand is new connections, because remember, this is a networking card. It can also be social, but these are new beginnings, new connections. Obviously, when it's in reverse, it's not going to be the same, but here we're only looking at delays. Perhaps you just haven't met that right connection yet. So it's a delay in a connection. When we go to the Pentacles, we have physical support. This is just having, getting a new job, maybe making some money, maybe you're starting a diet or you're going on a new physical regime, and this will tell you that it's the beginning of a gain. So if it's in reverse, it can be telling us that there isn't enough to have a beginning, that the opportunity doesn't have what it needs. So in this case, it won't happen. When we move to the Cups, our next suit, happiness of the heart. And I want to point out that with all the aces, and I am flashing through these rather quickly, I'm not a visual person. I do, however, feel that it's really important to really look at the cards for their symbology. But just look at this. Like every ace comes with a cloud around the hand. It's just an opportunity. We can't really say whether or not it's going to work out. So you may have a new relationship, but I don't know, unless I get other cards to tell me so, that this would actually be the person that you'd end up with. Now, it could be also the birth of a child. It could be the birth of any situation or storyline that is happiness of an emotional nature. Upside down, it's pure and simple boredom. Well, when you don't feel that inner happiness in your heart, there is a level of emptiness, and that is often associated with boredom. As we move on to the sword, it's talking about a new beginning. And here's another card that's really important to look at the symbology on the card. Yes, this is a stress card, and whatever it is you're beginning, it's going to be stressful. But you notice it has a crown at the top of the sword. So ultimately, it does lead to success. Little bleak out there, but it does lead to success. While as in reverse, it's more or less telling us a story where it could be more trouble than it's worth, or too much stress for us. So moving on to the twos, and again, twos, fertility, cooperation, or lack thereof. Foundations laid bring desired results. That's right out of Eileen Conley's Tarot for the Apprentice. So basically, I look at this as a foundation card. It's a 2, and these connections are taking. Whereas in reverse, simply put, they're not taking. It's not happening. So we move on to the 2 of Pentacles, where we get the physical foundation that we need, the physical support that we need. That can also be affection in a relationship, intimacy. So think of all things physical, okay? Even if you're going on a diet, it would be the support. Upside down, no support, no money, no affection, okay? Now we're moving on to the 2 of Cups, a bonding card. This is the coming together. Now, this coming together could be romantic, but it can also be a bonding in a partnership for a business, a bonding where 2 people just get together because they just want to improve something or make it better. So this is a partnership or a bonding of some kind. Whereas in reverse, of course, it would be a separation, not necessarily because 2 people fought or, though they could have, parted ways in maybe a negative way, but it can also be situations where people go away for a time. And that also affects partnerships when people go away or move away. The 2 of Swords is one of the cards that point out that when we're dealing with swords, sometimes it's better not to have them upright. The 2 of Swords reminds us that there are some things that are more trouble than they're worth. The 2 of Swords is like, I'm stuck with this. When it's right side up, you're stuck. You're stuck with the things that are the lesser of evils. It's like, well, I gotta hang in there because that's all I got, you know? But upside down, I'm able to get rid of those things that are the lesser of evils. Yeah, prioritizing. That's my prioritizing card. So now let's march to the number of 3. As we get into the 3s, we're looking at expression, creation, result, or lack thereof, fruitlessness. Here we have assistance and cooperation from other people. It's awesome, really. It's actually a pretty card. Lots of opportunity there. In reverse, no cooperation or assistance from others. Other people are not being very helpful in that particular card. In the 3 of Pentacles, sometimes referred to as an apprentice card, there is a sense that this is it. You're building on something. It may not be where you're going in the end. You'll end up hopefully a lot further, but this is it. You're on the right track. This is not it. This is not it. When it's in reverse, it's not it. It's not amounting to what it should. It's not it. As we move into the 3 of Cups, the happiest card in the deck, just about, unless you're looking at the 9 of Cups, and we'll get to that later. But this is just a happy celebration. This is awesome, this card. This means everybody's just happy, happy. But in reverse, disappointment. So disappointing, especially if you expected it to be a happy thing. Very disappointing. This is a tumultuous kind of card to get. This is crying. This is loss, grieving, sadness, upset, separation, disputes. I love this card in reverse. Again, a clear example of why we want to see reverse cards used, particularly when it comes to the swords, because it truly mitigates their energy. In reverse, you're making decisions. You don't want to make this decision. You don't want to have to do this. Remember that there is a degree of creation that comes from the 3. And when it's upside down, in order for you to continue to create, you have to make decisions you don't want to make, but you have to. Much better than the right side up. So let's move on to 4. In the 4, we see that this is sometimes called the marriage card. Wow, this is signing of lucrative contracts. This is a great card, really winning lotteries. This is wonderful. It really is a wonderful card. Things really coming together, setting up a foundation, really building. That's why they call it a marriage card. Now, in reverse, it's still a good card. It's still a great card. There's a lot of peace in this. There's a lot of improvement in life. Now, no, you're not winning lotteries. No, you're probably not getting married. It's not that extreme, but it's still a really good card. It's not a case of an opposition, as you might find with some of the cards. So we move into the 4, and here we really see, this is a good example of an opposition. Here somebody's really keeping to themselves. They're watching their money. They're watching how much they extend and overextend themselves, and they're kind of playing their cards very close to their chest. Here we see the opposite. Somebody's grossly overextended here, whether they're burning the candle at both ends or they're spending too much money. But that's an opposition card for sure. The 4 of cups is a boredom card. Things are just not happening fast enough for you. You're just like, come on, we got our foundation, let's move forward, let's get to the next level. Not always, right? So here's a case of where you might want it upside down, because here, this is a catalyst that comes into our life. Whether this is somebody who ends up being a significant other, or if this ends up being some kind of teacher, or just somebody who comes into our life and says the right thing at the right time that sets us up on a new path. But here's your catalyst card. Great card. So you want that one upside down. We move on to the 4 of Swords, and what would be a foundation for stress would be, of course, resting. So, when you develop a foundation and you're working at something really, really hard, you really should be resting on the number 4 of the Swords. That's even vacations. But when you're right side up, you are back in action again. Okay, you're back at it. You're working at something. So back in action. Now I'm going to go through the 5s, which we know to be change, activity, and uncertainty. Sometimes excitement. Oh, a card you don't really want right side up. This is stressful, actually. Even though it's a wand, it's competition. It's what do I do first? Who do I deal with first? People are battling it out. So is a lot of probably personalities interacting when whatever that situation is. This is a beautiful card. This is peace of mind. This is kind of being centered. So it's the opposite. It's a great card. The 5 of Pentacles. Now here's another card you really don't want right side up. Much better upside down. Here you want to throw in the towel. You want to give up. It's just such a heavy load. Look at the people. Look what they look like. This is great visual, this one. Upside down. Attention and generosity from others. It's the opposite. It's wonderful. It's helping to invigorate you. The 5 of Cups. That's a card of, don't look back and have remorse. You really don't. Take the 2 cups that are standing and keep moving forward. Things are changing. You can't regret what did or didn't happen in the past. But right side up, upside down, this is a need for change and change coming. This is an opportunity card. This is one of, in my opinion, this is an opportunity card. This is growth and this is change that's needed and wanted. The 5 of Swords. Right side up. Somebody's done something. Boy, there's a need for change because people maybe are getting away with things they shouldn't. This is a stressful card and it talks about a stressful situation. that ironically here the need for change is more strong in the upright position. Of course, you're dealing with stress here. In the upside down position, it does talk about marked changes, and that though changes are stressful, they are at least changing. And that's all I'm going to do for today. I'm going to leave it right there with our 5 cards from each suit. I'm going to pick this up and do a part 2. But until then, as always, if you have any questions regarding the tarot or the astrology, since I teach both subjects, please contact me through divination, DIVINATION, divinationcounselingservice.org. You can find a lot of things on that site that might answer your questions, but I also have chatability and messaging so that you can get a hold of me. You can also get a hold of me if you're interested in having a personal reading, either in the tarot or an astrology chart done. I'm here for you. Check it out. Until next time, I wish you all happy readings. Take care and be well.